Hi, Julia Dean here with Culinary Works, and we're here today to make a great dish. This is a great winter dish, fall, really tailgating, like parties, football season, kind of a lot of one-pot meals are great for those types of occasions. And it's going to be a Mexican chicken stew, not a chili, so a stew. So we're not putting any beans in here. So that's kind of my definition of the difference of a chili and a stew. So the typical recipe that I have that I normally make with this has chorizo and chicken in it. But this particular dish, we are just going to do chicken today because we're going to kind of make a little bit of a healthier approach. So we're just going to go chicken. And I'm going to show you kind of the ingredients that we have here. So we have a mixture of some chicken thighs and some chicken breasts that have already been cut up. We've got our great spices over here. So we have our chili powder, our cumin, and our oregano. So those are all set. And they have a lot of great starches here. So we have our white potato, we have sweet potato, we have a mix of different squashes, onion, and bell pepper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut up our vegetables, but in the meantime we're also going to start browning our chicken. So I'm going to put a little avocado oil here in the bottom of our pan, really just enough to give the bottom of the pan a nice kind of, generous coating. We can't add all the chicken at once because we want to be able to brown the chicken. And if we were to add all the chicken at once, it would steam really and not brown. So I'm just going to put this chicken here in a single layer. It's about 2 pounds of chicken, I would say. Okay, so that chicken's just going to sit. I am going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and chop up this bell pepper for you to show you what I would do. This one's a little bit of an odd shape, so you see it has this big indentation here. Normally what we do is cut off the bottom and then kind of cut around the pit here, but I think because it's such an odd shape, what I'm going to do this time is just cut off the top and then just peel out the pit. This kind of seeded part here. And that actually worked just as fine. So there's obviously a lot of different techniques with all these different vegetables that we cut, so really kind of whatever you think works well. Okay, so here's our salt and pepper, just a little bit on the chicken. When you're doing one-pot meals like this, you definitely want to season as you go. Like, that's really important. So you want to kind of brown and, kind of season each layer pretty well. So I'll let that go there. All right, so this pepper we're going to cut into strips here. Now, the idea of it being a stew, means you're going to want some relatively kind of big chunks. You don't want everything to be super, super small. Okay, because you're going to want it like a little bit cozy and homey and, more like a peasant type dish, right? So I'm going to cut this into big kind of slices here for you. I think one of the best parts that I love about this particular dish is that at the end you put a little lime juice on there, a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of fresh chopped onion. It's got a great little topping. You could throw a little crema on there if you wanted, a little queso fresco or tortilla. All right, there's our bell pepper, so that looks good. I'm going to kind of flip some of this chicken over here. Get a little spatula here, do that. If it sticks a little bit, don't worry, it's fine. It's all going to help and create a nice little bottom layer of flavor on the bottom of the pan, which is what you want. When you're doing one-pot meals, really, it is all about the flavor that you're trying to create on the bottom of the pan. Because on the bottom of the pan is where all that kind of yummy, kind of caramelized flavor ends up. So, okay, so our onion is done here. Let's see our potatoes. So these are just Yukon Gold potatoes, and we're going to cut these into big chunks. Kind of one cool thing about this stew, too, is that once it gets kind of well and cooked, we start to just kind of smash it down a little bit, so it gets a little bit, so the chicken starts to shred up nicely, and I get some really good, kind of texture and consistency to the chicken. So we got our big chunks of potato here. I did peel the potatoes. Again, these are Yukon Gold, but honestly, this is the kind of thing where whatever you have, you could use. So don't think about it too much. Like, for example, today when I was at the store, I didn't really want to buy the butternut squash and have to peel it and do all that stuff, so they didn't have any pre-peeled, so I just bought this kind of mix here, which was, acorn squash, butternut squash kind of combined, so I was like, perfect, doesn't matter, it's all good. Some sweet potato we're going to add in here, And all these, you know, starches are delicious, and there's a lot of micro minerals and nutrients and vitamins in these. So even the white potato, the poor white potato gets such a bad rap. I feel so bad for it sometimes. I'm like, oh my God. All right, so there's that. So that chicken is about ready to come out, so I'm going to pop that out. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bowl I'm going to grab here. Put this bowl here. So pop our chicken out here. It's really, the chicken doesn't look like, you know, anything great right now. It just looks like, you know, kind of some little bit brown chicken. It's not fully cooked, which is fine. You're not trying to cook it all the way through right now. You're just trying to get a little bit of coloring on the bottom of the pan, which we can kind of take a look here in a second. I'll show you once I get this chicken all settled. Actually, when we take the chicken out, I'll show you kind of what the bottom of the pan looks like. So right now, it's going just fine. Maybe just a touch more oil, right? You don't need a ton, but just enough to allow it to brown. Avocado oil is definitely one of the oils that I like to use a lot at home. Definitely a little bit healthier. More monounsaturated fat, which is what you want. You want to try and avoid the polyunsaturated fats a little bit more. All right, some nice pepper went in there. Let's just level this out here. Now I kind of do like the thighs and the breast in this. I kind of like both. It's good. It gives it kind of some nice good flavor. All right, let's see. So what else? Okay, we pretty much have most of our prep work done. So we have some onion here. You guys, if you haven't seen me chop the onion before, you know, you go to the Knife Skills website. Oh, I got one right here I can do for you. Look at that. I'll do this one for you. But, you know, in other words, you can also go to the Knife Skills video on my website, and it's a free download, and there is lots of techniques there. I talk about chopping the onion so you can get a kind of a better tutorial. I'll give you a little refresher course right now. Okay, so we got this bottom piece all peeled, which is such a pain sometimes, right? Peeling this off. Lord, thank God for fingernails sometimes. Okay. All right, so one more little piece there. There we go. All right, so with the onion right here, the chicken's looking good. It's nice and flat, right? So I'm going to take another one, big pieces for this, right? Just like that one. So I'm going to just do one time, about 2/3, 3/4 the way through. I'm going to pull the knife out. And then we're going to do like 2 or 3 times across. So 1, let's say 2, 3, maybe one more. All right, maybe like 4 times across. I miscounted. Okay, so, but we have big chunks here, right? So 1, look at all those big chunks. See, it's much better. They're nice and big. 1, 2, 3, right here. Okay? We got big, big chunks there. Over here, another kind of big chunks, right? Big chunks of onion there. Okay? Which is what we're aiming for. All right, so we're going to let this chicken continue to brown. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, and then we'll start to add our vegetables, and we'll start to add our seasoning, and really kind of start to get this stew going. But if you could real quick, actually, let's just take a peek here so you can kind of see the chicken, see the browning here, the bottom of the pan. You can kind of take a look there, right? Just getting some nice color right in there. All right. It's one even layer there. All right, so we'll see you back here in a couple minutes. Okay, so we're back. We have really a lot of great color here on the bottom of the skillet. We're gonna start with our onions and peppers. I'm just gonna add a little bit more oil, just because it really dried up with that chicken there. I'm gonna add our onions. Remember, big chunks of onion. Our bell pepper. All right, that looks good. Salt and pepper, or salt especially, because remember, we're building our flavors here. Anytime you're doing one pot, you have to layer the flavors. Okay, so those are in there. We're going to add our spices. Remember our cumin, our oregano, and our chili powder. Looks good. All right, so we're going to give it a little stir here. And then honestly, this part here, you can just cover it. Like you can cover it, let all that moisture that's going to come out of those vegetables, because there's so much, internal moisture. All the moisture is going to come out, and then it's going to start to sweat, and that's going to really clean the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and cover it here. Just keep it like on medium-low, and let it sit. And then once they're nice and soft, we'll come back, and I'll show you how we're going to. And then we're going to add our garlic. Sorry, I forgot about the garlic. You guys got to remind me of those things. What are you doing? Okay. So the garlic is in there. Always be careful though when you add your garlic because you don't want the garlic to burn. But there's not a lot of exposed surface area here, so I feel like the garlic will be fine. It's not going to burn. So just going to give this a cover. Nice heavy pan here. And going to let it sit. Going to like medium low. Let the vegetables start to sweat. And again, we'll clean up the bottom of the pan and then we'll be right back. Okay friends, so listen. Remember I told you about the moisture that's going to collect in the bottom of the pan? Well, for some reason, say you're going to say to me, oh my God, that woman is crazy. I have no moisture in the bottom of my pan and like it looks like a burnt mess, right? So I have some moisture in here, but not a lot. So if you guys can come up close here, I really want you to see. All you have to do, like you can see, there's like the big burnt mark right here. And I'm kind of like, oh no, what do you do? Don't worry about that. All you do is take a little bit of water. Okay? So a couple tablespoons of water. And then all you do is scrape the bottom of the pan, right? Add some water, and that will clean off the bottom of the pan, okay? So never fear, water's your friend when you're cooking. So look at that, all that moisture now. We cleaned up the bottom of the pan, so there's your trick of the day. So just a little bit of water is helpful. So okay, so at this point now, what we can do is we can add back in our chicken. We're gonna add our starches here. We have our yummy mix of different squashes here that we have. And then we're going to go ahead and add some potato and some sweet potato. It looks really yummy. And then we're going to go ahead and add some tomato. And I'm going to crush up the tomato as we put that in there. I'm just going to make sure, was I using this whole can? This is a lot of tomatoes. Let's see here. Tomato. Yeah, 15-ounce cans. This is a little bit bigger, so I'm just not gonna do the whole thing. We'll do a lot of it, but just half the can here. This is a big can, so we're gonna crush up these tomatoes here. Potato, tomato, right? Tomato. I'm a tomato, not a tomato person. Okay, so I'm gonna crush those up a little bit. Maybe use a little. I'm gonna find a masher here in a minute, but okay. So we're gonna now add our broth too. All right, let's give this kind of a gentle stir here. We're going to add our yummy chicken broth. Now, if you were making this vegetarian, you could certainly just do all vegetables and you could add vegetable broth, right? You could add black beans if you wanted. Yeah, but there's lots of different starches obviously in here, so you don't really even need the chicken. It just depends on, you know, kind of what you like. So we've got a lot of chicken broth here. All that's going to go in. Okay, that looks really good. So take a little kind of closer look here. You can see everything is pretty well covered here, right? I'm going to kind of mix up, as it cooks and gets, the tomatoes are going to break down a little bit more too, but you can kind of see here. We're going to bring this to a boil, and we're going to let it simmer, and then everything's going to come together. Okay, so we'll see you back here. I'm saying probably like about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to bring it to a boil and give it about 15-20 minutes. So everything can soften. Then we're going to kind of start to give it a little bit of a mush so we can kind of make like a yummy stew-like consistency. Okay? Okay, so we're back with the stew. So it's been simmering for a long time. It's the kind of thing where you just kind of let it go. And now what I'm going to do is just use our potato masher. I really like to do this in stews to kind of create some texture and some kind of thickness because this is a very clean stew. There's no flour or any thickeners or anything in it, just like kind of the natural, you know, kind of consistency of the vegetables that we have here. So I'm just kind of going through on the bottom and just actually like just kind of like crushing it up a little bit with the actual potato masher. Not like to death, but just so you kind of get like very inconsistent here, like inconsistent like size pieces, like not all just like perfect cubes, so it just kind of mashes up a little bit. So that's enough. I'm going to add some lime zest because the lime zest really, it's amazing actually what the zest does to this particular dish. It just, well, and really in general, the lemon and lime just, you know, adds so much flavor to, so we're just going to zest away here. I'm going to do like a whole zest, and then I'm going to add some cilantro too. If you didn't like cilantro, obviously you could do, you know, parsley or something, but I think it's a gene in people, like whether they like cilantro or not. It's kind of funny. Some people think it tastes a lot like soap. So I did taste it for salt too. You know, that's really important. because I don't think I salted it when I added the, you know, kind of starchier vegetables. I kind of forgot, so it's okay. You can taste and adjust. So it's pretty good on the lime there. It's a pretty big lime, so I feel like a little bit more here, and then we're in good shape. Obviously, it has to taste it too, so it's going to add some juice as well. Just going to cut this real quick. Because the lime zest and the juice in this particular dish is just going to give it a little bit of height and a little bit of kind of lift. All right, so I'm going to go with some lime juice here. Love these juicers, right? They work so well. And this one fits lemons and limes well. Okay. Just stir this up. Just the smell of that lime is like amazing. The stew smells amazing too. All right, so let's chop up some cilantro. That's going to go in there. Just give that a good little rough chop here. And then we'll put a little bit of the cilantro and the lime and my individual little soup bowl as well. All right, that looks pretty good. I got a nice big handful here of fresh cilantro. It's going to go in here. That's going to bring the nice, yummy kind of freshness to the dish for sure. You always want to add your tender herbs like that towards the end, right? Because if you add them in the beginning, then they kind of lose their pungency and all their strength. So they're really best for the end. Okay, got a little bit more here. All right, that's going to go in. So now we're going to give this a good mix. You guys got to get up close here and see what we're working with here. It looks so yummy. Perfect for like a cold winter night. You know, it's nice and healthy. It's definitely a little heartier. You know, you do have your kind of starchy stuff in here, but that's okay. You can't think of health as like, you know, that you can't have, you know, hearty dishes. So kind of see how good does that look, right? Looks yummy. Okay, so let's show you how we would plate this up here. So what I'm going to do is have a little bowl here. A nice ladle here. Looks good. Okay, so a little extra cilantro on top just to give it a little something something. Ooh, I think a little bit of serrano pepper would be good too. Just a couple little pieces here. If you like little serrano pepper, a little extra heat. You could certainly throw on some hot sauce if you liked hot sauce, right? Let's throw a couple little pieces of serrano on there. That'll be yummy. Okay, then we're going to throw a little avocado on there. That looks good. And a little bit of cotija cheese. Cotija cheese is lovely. It's like a bitey, sharp little, tastes like sheep's milk cheese to me, actually. All right, so let's take a look at this. How yummy does that look? Let me get a spoon here so we can... Just want to show you the cotija cheese. This is kind of what cotija cheese looks like, in case you've never seen it. It's kind of like you can actually buy a lot of the little ethnic markets, and they sell it like in bricks too. So yeah, so take a look, right? How's that look? Looks good, right? We have our little cilantro on there. I'm going to give it a little taste for you guys. Let's see. Get a little bit of that good stuff in there. It's delicious. It's like, and that lime, that cilantro, really adds a lot to the dish at the end. And the you get the sweetness from the squash, and you know, all the starches in there that are just delicious, and the red pepper, a little bit of heat from the serrano pepper as well. I'm gonna take one more bite here. It's really yummy. It's great. And I think your whole family would like this. If you wanted to put corn in here too, obviously you could do that too. But this is the Mexican stew. Give it a try.